Segment 2, Gold and Black Live, and we always appreciate having guests from Purdue Athletics on, especially when it's a busy day. But Tom Moreland joins us, Senior Associate Athletic Director of Strategic Initiatives. He's the revenue guy, but he does a lot of different things for Purdue Athletics. He joins us for, and it's going to be wheels up for the Boilermakers. Actually, we're recording a little bit early. By the time this airs, he'll be in the air as Purdue will be heading to Madison, Wisconsin. Tom, you've been around college sports a lot of your professional and young life in terms of that. This is a big football game for Purdue because the Boilermakers have a great opportunity to not only end a long streak of losing up there, but also really what could be ahead for Purdue if Purdue can get the job done on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I think at this point of the season, all the games are important. But I think our student athletes and their preparation, their work with our coaching staff, they're absolutely dialed in. Another quality week of practice, just doing all the right things on the practice field with the strength conditioning staff, sports medicine. But I can tell you that their level of preparation, that really starts in January and February. And I say that a lot, but this is just another opportunity for our student athletes to show what they're all about, the preparation they've put in spring ball and summer strength conditioning and fall camp, and then working to this point late in October to play in a really high impact football game at Wisconsin. Means a lot for our program. It'll be a great environment. It's homecoming at Wisconsin. I know our student athletes are looking forward to this type of opportunity, just to show what they're all about and the preparation and commitment they've made to the program.
Yeah, it is. And you grew up north of Milwaukee. We talked offline about it being a little bit of a pro sports town, but also the Packers. But Wisconsin football is a huge deal. It's a great environment. They're one of the great environments in the Big Ten. And even though I know you're an Iowa grad, that Iowa and Wisconsin are not always see eye to eye on things, but it is a great environment, really a great opportunity for Purdue to be in one of the best venues in the country.
Yeah, Wisconsin has a great game day environment at Camp Randall, but I'll tell you what, I think Ross-Ade is truly a special environment as well. When you look at our student section, right? When you have 12,000 students at every home game at Ross-Ade Stadium, and then certainly also on the basketball side with Mackey Arena. But yeah, growing up in Wisconsin, growing up in Milwaukee, grew up a lifelong Packer fan. And people often joke around when you leave the state, are you still a Packer fan? I say, you have to be, or else your family's going to disown you. But it'll be a great environment at Camp Randall Stadium. But I'll tell you what, Alan, I like the environment that we have at Ross-Ade right now. Sold out the Nebraska game. We'll have the Iowa game sold out here in a couple of weeks. And so for our fans that want to see this Purdue football team one more time, and I think some pretty incredible players that are on this program, they're going to move on. They got to make sure to get those tickets First Northwestern to see them one last time.
Yeah, November 19th, that last home game. Could be a lot on the line that game too. We'll see how that goes. And of course, game time to be announced. We may know 13 days before that one, or maybe even 6. I think it depends how things shake out as we run down the stretch of the Big Ten season. You talk about the revenues and the ability, the energy that students have brought. Yeah. Going back 2 years ago, amazingly, we were going to games with 800 fans in the stands because of COVID. Just from a long, you obviously study this and you talk to a lot of folks in this business, but has it surprised you, just that fact that people came back in such droves and not only at Purdue, but other places, but even Purdue, it's really become, like you said, kind of a place to be, Ross-Ade Stadium. It wasn't all that long ago before you got there that there was a lot of challenges in terms of getting fans in the stands, but now it is a thing to do. And talk about that metamorphosis, but also the post-COVID world that it's become a thing to do again.
Yeah, I think for us at Purdue, there's a few things there, Alan. The first I would talk about is just being prepared for success.
Yeah.
And really where that philosophy was on a national display, if you remember back in 2018, when the football program beat Ohio State, that was Kirk Herbstreit's line. He said, This program and this athletic department is prepared for success. We had the fireworks set up, and we really believed we were going to win that game. And I think that's how we prepare for everything, and especially when we engage with our fan base. And the other thing I would say is we certainly never take them for granted. We're constantly engaging with them. I think a lot of our fans are aware of the Boilermaker Athletic Rep program, where all of our fans really have that one-on-one relationship. And that staff is engaging with them on a consistent basis, whether it's their support of our student athletes through John Purdue Club, buying tickets to games, or even this new world of name, image,
Yeah.
and likeness, right?
Yeah.
We have the director of NIL engagement, Jack Gallagher, that's building relationships with our fans and donors that want to connect with our student athletes through really unique NIL opportunities. But for us, with the fans coming back and the attendance that we've had the last couple of years, if you look at men's basketball, 41 straight sold out games in men's basketball at Mackey Arena. If you look at football last year, I think we were about at 98% capacity. And this year, we're going to grow with that with football. I think we'll be at about 99% and be one of those top programs in the entire country when it comes to capacity. There's certainly other venues that are larger, right? The
Yeah.
Michigans, the Ohio States. But like I said earlier, with our venue, with our fans in there and our students, it's an incredible environment. And we just don't take our fans for granted. So we're constantly engaging with them, telling the story of our student athletes. I think we try to provide the absolute best customer service we can. But then under Mike Babinski's leadership and the vision that we have for this athletics department is that we're constantly improving that fan experience, right? Whether it's the ribbon boards in the north end, the monster video board in the south end, the phase 1 renovation of Ross-Ade Stadium, we're consistently looking in a strategic way to enhance that fan experience. And that's something I think our fans have embraced as well, because we will never take them for granted. Because I think this university, before has seen maybe some leaner days when it comes to attendance at games, but we want to make sure that we're always full. And we'll just never take our fans for granted.
Yeah, you look at that even next year when you have the building project and an ambitious one to get the tunnel done and get everything done at the south end zone. How does that, from your perspective and what comes across your desk, what kind of things do you have to plan for? Because you're going to move some people, you're going to move the student section to a new spot. People are going to have to be moved around. How big of a challenge is that? And how will that process play out for the ticket buyer here over the next few months?
Yeah, the first thing I would say is, well, there certainly may be some challenges. We've been preparing for this for a long time. When we announced that we were going forward with the renovation the Wednesday night before the Penn State game, we were already reaching out to those account holders in the south end zone that were going to have to move their seats. Yeah. And so having that relationship on the front end, constantly communicating with them, it's been a pretty efficient process. As far as what comes across my desk, and you talked about the tunnel, I think that the tunnel in that northeast side and how that's going to connect to the Kozik Football Performance Center, I think is going to be one of the most iconic entrances and game day experience moments in all of college athletics. I think it's going to be a great representation of the entire institution. And we all know some of those football programs that really have those iconic entrances and cover them on TV and see them in highlight reels. Well, I absolutely think Ross-Ade Stadium is going to have that. I think our fans are going to love it. I even think our fans that maybe can't make a game that are watching on TV, once you see that happen, the place is going to be absolutely electric. So there's a lot of great things going on in phase 1 of the stadium renovation and some incredible things that we're in the very early stages of planning for phase 2. But when you talk about that tunnel and all the aspects that impacts of the game day experience, whether it's our student athletes, potential recruits, because they get to see what we're all about, our fans in the stands, I think it's going to be pretty remarkable and something we're proud of. Yeah, you look at I think of the University of Michigan being one where they come in on that side facing the field. How many times have you seen that view of the Wolverines hitting the flag or hitting their banner as they come across? You're going to have a lot of that same feel because they're going to come across right to the bench, and that's going to be, you're right, going to be another one of those goose pimple moments, I think, for Purdue fans, and that will be fun to see. Still don't know how you're going to get that done in a year. I know you will. We will. I know you will, but I think it's going to be a fun project, and it will be done by September of 2023. All right. One of your other hats you wear is obviously Purdue Golf. Yeah. And being involved with that program and really a fascinating, and people may not be as aware of this, but if they live on Cherry Lane or around Cherry Lane, they're going to see we've used the word iconic a couple of times, but it's really going to be an unbelievable golf clubhouse, and not just golf. I mean, Sam Allen and company that have really, and his family have given a tremendous gift, but
it is going to be something that really is going to be a community type facility. And of course, we're talking about the clubhouse that also will be built in the next calendar year, starting I think the morning after the Northwestern game, darn near. But talk about that and just what that means, and maybe a little bit some of the details of what people can expect for the new clubhouse for the Burke Boilermaker golf complex.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think when you look at the Burke Boilermaker Golf Complex, it's so unique. When I talk to colleagues around the country that have my type of position, it's when we tell them about it and tell other athletic directors that visit our campus, for them, it's almost hard to believe, right? Because it's unique and it's special. You have two 18-hole Pete Dye golf courses, right? With the camping course being a link style course, the South course, the Ackerman Allen course, being a Parkland style course. So you have two completely different experiences. Actually, a couple of months ago, we brought in a couple of like real golf experts to take a look at a few things for us. And that was one of the first things they noted, is that the Campen course, the North course, gets a lot of the notoriety because it's hosted NCAA regionals and NCAA championships. But the Ackerman Allen course, they love that equally as well. Yeah. So we just truly have a unique setup. And then also just from the generosity of Sam and Marcia Allen and them funding the clubhouse will make a dramatic impact on every aspect of our golf experience. And when visiting with Sam, that was certainly one of those top priorities, is to make sure that we got it right with the golfer and got it right with the golf experience. But as you alluded to, it's also going to have a community impact for all of West Lafayette and for the Purdue family. I think we're going to have some really unique dining experiences, some places to be maybe before a round, after a round. Or Alan, what our hope is that maybe two people want to grab lunch there on a Friday, or that's a place that they might want to grab like a Sunday brunch or dinner. We really think it's just going to have a community impact for the golfer, for the community. But I also think home football weekends, I think that's going to be a really popular place as well. I think our home basketball weekends for both Coach Painter and Coach Gerald's, I think people are going to want to go to the clubhouse and go there before they go to the game. So it's really a multifaceted approach. We are going to need people's patience a little bit, right? There's going to be a little dust at construction, but I think people appreciate that progress. But in totality, I think this is one of the most unique projects I've had the opportunity to work on because it impacts so many different people, whether it's our golfers, the West Lafayette community, the Purdue community, and every aspect of Purdue athletics. So it's certainly exciting as we break ground here in the very near future. We'll make sure to communicate to our fans because we want them to enjoy it as well.
Yeah, it is going to be unreal. And you know, talking to Sam Allen and Marcia as well about this whole project. I mean, you have big goals for golf. I mean, you're obviously, Purdue has hosted the men's and women's championships at the Campen course in years past. You, I believe, or have that on the schedule, some major events. But maybe talk about that in terms of not just NCAA events, but there might be other type of golf events that can bring a lot of people to the Lafayette area.
Yeah, we certainly have very high aspirations and goals. We've hosted NCAA regionals, NCAA championships. We want to host NCAA regionals again in the near future and years beyond. But even a couple of years ago, we hosted a Forum Tour event that's associated with the PGA. And we want to continue to look for those types of events. Do I think the Ackerman Allen course or the Campen course could host a Corn Ferry event? Yeah. I truly do. Where we're unique in our golf setup is the access that we have to parking, being right to the west of Ross-Ade Stadium, which is truly unique. Because when you look at a lot of the large golf tournaments and golf events, having the access to parking is incredibly important. So I think that puts us in a unique position. And then now we have the golf clubhouse as well. I'd also like to see us, and having some bold goals, do we look at a U.S. amateur on the Campen course down the road? I think Coach Bradley, our director of golf, would really like to see that happen. And certainly having the golf clubhouse now makes that more of a reality. So we have aspirational goals. And besides those national tournaments, I also think state events as well, I think would be very appealing once the clubhouse is done. But then also, I think what we've done a really good job of, Alan, is community events. Yeah. Whether it's the Wabash Center event that happens every year that benefits a great charity in this community, Wabash National has an annual event there as well, and several other just community-led opportunities come out to our golf complex. And I think that just shows the power of an athletics department, how you can engage with that greater campus community. And this golf course and this new clubhouse would just be another tool for us to engage with West Lafayette and beyond, and just golf being one of those key assets for us to be successful with that.
All right, turning the calendar, and the last question about men's and women's basketball, turning it to November. The Boilermakers, both of those teams will be playing in Mackey Arena. You've had tremendous sales for Matt Painter's crew, put some single game ticket sales. A lot of them probably gobbled up, but I think there's still some available from that. But I think one question from a philosophical standpoint, because that presents a different challenge. One of the things you can't guarantee, though Purdue's had what did you say? 41 straight sellouts. That's a number, but you have to prepare for the day where that may not be, or you have to continue to get new people into the stands. Talk about what challenge that presents, because you're selling out a lot of these games on a season ticket basis.
Yeah, it's certainly a balance, right? So today's our general public on sale started 49 minutes ago. And as of 49 minutes ago, we only had 5 games left that still had ticket availability. A couple of our break games, and then a couple of Big Ten games as well. So the first thing I would say to your viewership is to make sure to call the Hayes Family Athletics ticket office and secure your tickets on the men's side. As far as that balance, when you look at Mackey Arena, you got 14,800 plus attending. You got 4,800 students at every game. And now we have roughly 8,100 season tickets. So there's a small amount in there for mini plan sales and single game sales. And Alan, that's, I think, where we have to have that balance, and certainly embrace that balance, because we want to make sure that people in the community can attend games, that our alumni base in Chicago and Indianapolis can still attend games that maybe necessarily aren't going to buy season tickets. And then where I think Purdue is also unique is just with the type of education that we provide here for our alumni. We really have a national alumni base as well, both in the West Coast and Silicon Valley, and also on the East Coast as well. And so we want to make sure they can come back for 1 or 2 games at Mackey Arena. I think what you've seen some institutions do is they'll sell out the entire arena based on a season ticket basis. Do I think that's something we could do at Purdue? Possibly.
Yeah.
But we want to make sure that we have access for everybody to be able to attend games, whether it's somebody that's 5 years out of college that can come to one because they're balancing professional and family activities, or it's an alum that graduated 30 years ago that can just make it to 1 game a year. We certainly have to have that balance. So it's something we take really seriously, and we think a lot about it. I would tell you that the planning when it comes to ticket sales, we're always planning a year out in advance. And so there's certainly a level of preparation. But I'd also talk about the women's side as well. Really excited about the program that Coach Gerald's has, the vision that she has for it. Certainly been very successful in recruiting. That's noted. And I think we have some really incredible opportunities ahead of us this year. If you look back at the Purdue women's basketball game versus IU last year, I think there's about 9,000 or 10,000 people at that game. And we want to continue to have those types of opportunities and moments for our women's program as well. So we're excited for both Coach Painter and Coach Gerald's.
Yeah, we'll use the word iconic one more time, and that is, of course, Mackey Arena. It's almost, now that it's 55 years old. It isn't a facility that's old. It's dynamic, and it's interesting. It's kind of now with calling it the Wrigley Field of college basketball, because it is now a place where people that don't have a direct affiliation with Purdue necessarily want to go and see and visit. And some new things this year also. You've got some new seating, and now instead of the gold chairs, they're all black. But I saw that a couple of days ago. You're ready to go for that those first set of games, the first week in November.
Yeah, Mackey Arena certainly is iconic. I remember when I was fortunate enough to come to Purdue. It was about the fall of 2017. And my first game was a Big Ten ACC challenge. We were hosting Louisville. Yeah. And I remember leaving that game, and I just could not believe the atmosphere, right? From the incredible student section, our fan base sold out. You have the metal bleachers, the metal roof. I mean, Alan, I could go on and on. And clearly there's countless people currently at Purdue and previous administrations that have just understood really how special of an environment is. And what I can tell you it's great to see and hear is the national recognition that it's getting. I think I saw several publications over the summer and the early fall truly recognize that it's one of the top 2 or 3 venues in all of college basketball. And again, that's a credit to our fans, our students, our coaches, and student athletes. But for anybody who's just a basketball junkie, and I'm certainly one of them, to have the opportunity to go to Mackey Arena on a regular basis, like it's special. It really is. And I know Purdue fans don't take that for granted. So as we tip off here in the near future, we couldn't be more excited. And for our fans looking to go to Mackey Arena this year on the men's side, to make sure that they look at tickets, because there are only a few games left to see this year's Boilermakers.
All right, sounds good, and it will be fun to watch both those teams evolve this year, because both will have interesting seasons, to say the least. All right, Tom, we're gonna let you get ready for the trip to Madtown, and will be a great weekend. If you're a Purdue fan, it'll even be better if you get on the better end of the score on Saturday afternoon. But thanks again for your time. We'll be back in 2 minutes as Tyler Oakes will talk about something that Tom and I probably didn't guess 10 years ago would be a big part of college sports. That's sports betting, and that wonderful world of that, and how that he's an expert when it comes to that. We'll have some fun talking about Purdue, Wisconsin, and beyond. So stay tuned. We'll be back in 2 minutes on Gold and Black Live.